What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Kristina. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows who you are, but we did have a couple of people say that they just signed up. And I was wondering if you could give like a 5-minute quick background about yourself, Kristina.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Kristina Aguilera. Kristina spells is what a lot of people might know me as still. So I'm recently divorced. I got my maiden name back, so I'm super excited about that. But I'm originally from Miami, Florida. And right now I do 100% of my business. I would say like 98% of my business, because we do virtually wholesale from time to time, with, different wholesalers across the country. But most of our business is here in St. Louis. And then I have a wholesaling operation. And then I have a pretty decent size rental portfolio that basically we self-manage. So I self-manage through 2 girls in the Philippines, basically run my portfolio. And then I have one person in-house who sits in my office. And yeah, so that's basically like the operation. I flip as well. Yeah, so it's just kind of a little bit of everything. I've kind of made it my thing to not like super niche down on like just one thing, because I'm really, really passionate about just investing in general. But I love wholesaling, and that's probably like my first love, but a little bit of everything.
Right.
I've been in the business 5 years, so it'll be 5 years. 5 years ago, I spent $90,000 on credit cards. I put them on credit card because I didn't literally have any money, but I had credit. I was making about 6 figures at the time just selling insurance. And I basically risked everything. Like I was laid off because I really wouldn't pass the test. My head was so in like investing. Like I wanted to wrap my head around it so much that basically like I just took advantage of the opportunity, and I put $90,000 on credit cards, and I invested in Rich Dad. And I don't recommend anyone to do that ever. But it was enough to get me to where I needed to be. And it was what I like to say, like a lot of times I'm like, it was the monkey on the back that I needed. Like someone, it might just be $100 or nothing at all. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you need to do to basically put your back against the wall and risk everything to make it work. Yeah, $90,000.
Yeah.
I think it would have been the same if I would have just spent $10,000. I think, the amount is still considerably a lot. I think the biggest thing that was my problem was I literally did no research. I became so desperate that I didn't look online. I didn't do anything. I was so infatuated with the idea of investing in real estate. Yeah.
And then, so the $90,000, was that like one coaching program, or was that like coaching and other add-ons and stuff?
Well, yeah. So it was a coaching program. It was like everything. It was their biggest program that they had.
Okay.
So it was literally everything. Hey, Daria. Daria's known me since before I started investing. So it was the coaching program, and then like an add-on of like a mentor who would like come to St. Louis. And then it was, what else was there? Like some additional add-ons, but I'm going to be honest with you. Like it was a huge, like it was supposed to be 2 years. Right. And as I would go into all of these like rooms, cause they were called like symposiums, and I would ask people like, what have you been doing? Or, how many deals have you done? Cause obviously you've been in the program longer than I have. And then people be like, I haven't done any deals, but they've been to like 1,000 classes. And I'm like, I got so scared. I literally dropped out after like, I think it was like 6 or 8 months. I was like, I can't, like, I'm going to become one of these people who just becomes like a conference junkie and doesn't do anything. I was so scared of becoming that. So I just went out there. They had talked about yellow letters.
Yep.
Pre-foreclosures. Like it was like, yeah. Pre-foreclosures, yellow letters. What was the other thing? And then direct mail. So I would literally write, like handwrite stuff. I was still
the yellow letters.
Yeah.
With like the red Sharpie.
Yes. I didn't have any money to like get them printed.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like it was so fear-based, and honestly at the end of the day it worked. But I think that was like, I was so scared of being like these people who just spent so much time and like energy going to these conferences and never did anything.
Right.
And that was really scary for me. Like that was enough for me to be like, okay, so I just started door knocking. Like I would pull pre-foreclosure lists and I would just go door knocking.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I had only lived in St. Louis a year. So I was going everywhere. Like I didn't care what neighborhood, like I didn't even know, I was oblivious. And yeah, it was just crazy. But I'm so thankful. Even though it put me like in a super terrible position, like there was times like I remember I will make my credit card payment and then I'll go buy, like, let's say I will make a credit card payment, $200. I'll go spend $200 in groceries or $100 in groceries, $50 in gas, you know, all of those things. And it was such a scary time. Like it was so scary. But at the end of the day, you know, I think that grit and that perseverance of like continuing to just make it work. And I remember, like, just to talk about DealMachine, I remember, what was it? So it was like, it was kind of like PropStream. That was like the program that Rich Dad would give its students, right? So then I'm like, okay, there has to be an easier way. And then I would start like looking online. And then I remember just driving around, like driving for dollars has kind of been a concept for a long time, right?
Right.
But I would like drive around, I had my notebook, and then I would write the addresses. And then I had to come home and like look on the county assessor's website, and then like figure out who the owner was. And then
Me too.
I would have to look at their mailing address. And then I would have to mail to them.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, this is so much. Like there was so many places
Totally.
that you could like stop.
Yep. That was me back in 2016. And I had written down 40 of the addresses when I was just driving after work for an hour here and there. And a whole month had gone by and I hadn't done anything with it, you know, because there are a lot of
so
stuff.
Many notebooks.
Right.
There was so many notebooks, so many sheets of paper.
And that was my backstory. Was like, I was a software developer by day. I was super intrigued by real estate investing because of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book and the cash flow game that goes with it that you can play for free online. And I didn't pay for their coaching program, but I was inspired by that and then started asking questions and learned about driving for dollars as well. And then that was the beginning of my journey too.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy? Like when I remember like with the whole Rich Dad thing, I hadn't even read the book. Like I didn't even read the Rich Dad book before I paid $90,000 to this man on a poster, which is not even him. Like he's just the face of the company.
Right.
He's not even involved in anything. And like now I think about it, I'm like, Kristina, okay, first of all, like even more backstory, I have an MBA. Like I went to school. I graduated high school when I was 16. Okay. I had my master's by the time I was 20 years old.
Dang.
And I researched everything all the time. And like the one time in my life, like probably the biggest investment ever.
Yeah. I
mean,
research.
None at all. Like no research.
Wow. I didn't know you had your MBA, your master's before 20.
Yeah, I was 20. Yep, I was 20. I got my MBA. And it's just, but here's the crazy thing. Like you just think about stuff. I got my MBA. I was working at Liberty Mutual at the time, selling insurance in a call center.
Yep.
And I got my MBA in entrepreneurship.
What?
Yes.
So that's funny. Looking back on it now, did your MBA in entrepreneurship actually teach you valuable things that you applied in your journey?
Yeah. I mean, also too, I think that my background, because I've been working since I was 17 or 16, I worked at a restaurant, but then I always worked for small businesses.
Okay.
So what I did was I worked for like small local Allstate offices and scaled them out.
Okay. So
and
that was entrepreneurial in itself.
Right. So then I would like kind of like help with that stuff. So then I'm like, you know, I want an MBA. And at first I thought I was going to go to like to law school. That was like my initial thing. I wanted to be a corporate attorney or an immigration attorney because every Hispanic in the world of Hispanics go to law school for immigration. Okay. Because we're supposed to save everybody. And so I was supposed to go to law school. And yeah, I mean, I just think one thing led to another, and it just fell right in there. So I think it was like the universe kind of like coming together, like God, the universe, coming together and like, okay, this is probably the path that you're going to go on. The thing about the MBA and entrepreneurship was creativity, like, which is weird for like a regular school setting, like an MBA, but it was so creative. Like they would make us do projects on like, not like writing a business plan. It wasn't that stuff.
Okay.
Crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
Cool. So I don't know if you said this, but what brought you from Miami to St. Louis?
Actually my ex-husband. So
Okay.
my ex-husband worked at Boeing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like the original reason why I came to St. Louis. And then a year later I got in real estate, and that's why I haven't left.
Understandable.
Because I
Yeah,
probably would have
98%
left.
of your business here in St. Louis.
Yeah. Yep. And my family lives in Dallas.
Okay.
So like my parents live in Dallas. My brother lives in Dallas. All those people live in Dallas.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so is your team currently using DealMachine?
Yeah. So pretty much everyone on my team, even my intern, I have an intern who's from Austria. She's in the States right now. So she's on DealMachine. She uses DealMachine, and then acquisitions, and even my maintenance guys. So my maintenance guys and girls, I have maintenance girls, are all on DealMachine. So they're kind of like basically, obviously with the commission structure and everything, just so the way that I do it is not based on deals or profit or anything like that. So it's actually based on contact,
Okay.
not on deals actually closed.
Okay. What when you say contact, do you mean they're inputting the properties and then your team's reaching out, somebody else is reaching out?
Correct. So as long as we can actually make contact with the seller, then we're paying them. So so it's a little different, I think, than anyone that's really like probably that promotes DealMachine or talks about it. Because
Totally.
most people do like per lead, just like $1, $2. I know that's how Crystal and them do it.
Right.
And then like bonuses and stuff. I do it because I don't want them to like, and ours is going to also be like approved. So obviously it's like in certain areas that we're buying. And then we have basically what I call no-go zones.
Okay.
Which are basically like 5 municipalities in St. Louis that we don't buy in. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty simple. So the way I do it is just based on each contact. So it's $10 per contact. And the reason why I say that is because if we make contact and we're able to actually talk to the person, then usually we're getting the deal.
Yeah. So $10 per contact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's really interesting, because you're also solving the problem that a lot of deal finders have, because they feel like they're not getting paid and they need to get paid right now. And it takes a while to close a deal. But if you're making contact with the seller, they're probably getting paid a lot sooner than if you're waiting to pay at the close of a deal. What if you make contact with the seller and they're just like, no, I'm not interested in selling it? Would you still pay on that?
Yeah, because just because they say no on the initial contact doesn't mean that that's not going to be a follow-up.
Okay.
Gotcha. So yeah, so we're still paying on those. It's not necessarily based on if we convert the deal. Yeah.
So yeah. I feel like this would never work if you were paying on contact from like a downloaded list, right? Because that you'd be making way too many contacts that aren't good leads.
Correct.
You're doing it because you know their house is run down, and that makes the contact more valuable, is what you're saying.
Correct. And I mean, most of the time, even because a lot of the times where there's a lot of properties that are being put into the system, and because they're being put into the system, they are in our go zones, right? Like they're in our zones where there's either a tenant in the property, but the property still run down. Yeah. Yeah. So, and so if we're talking to someone, and we're having that conversation, and even if they say no, like it doesn't necessarily, I'd rather pay, $10 for a lead that I can actually make contact with, right? Mm-hmm. And actually have that conversation. And a lot of times, like, especially here in St. Louis, most people don't just have one property. Like most people have at least 2 houses. Like every once in a while, you're obviously gonna have people who have one property, but like that lead is worth way more to me than just a name and a number.
Yeah. So, okay, you're paying per contact. Their house is run down. So even if they say no later on, you'll probably be able to do a deal there. And I was wondering, is there any other criteria that you're telling your maintenance man, your intern from Austria? Like, are you having them specifically look for a certain criteria, like owner occupied, or do you just kind of let them add anything that's run down?
Yeah, so we do have a little bit more criteria, and it's dependent on the area that we're in. So here in St. Louis, we're very like renter market and homeowner market. And then there's very, very small areas that are in St. Louis that are mixed, if that makes sense. Which is different than most cities. Like a lot of cities don't have like renters and homeowners like a little like so segregated. So yeah, I mean, it just really depends. Like a lot of these are properties, like they're not completely run down. That's the thing. Like we do not buy properties that are completely run down, because most houses here in St. Louis, in the areas that I buy in, the ARVs are only like $50,000 to $60,000.
Right. So you could, I mean, the house that's totally run down is actually worth negative dollars.
Yeah. I mean, I've literally had people have to pay me to take away their house. And
they've done that.
I mean, if they didn't do it, then then they would still have a problem. So yeah, it's so different. And that's the thing I love about like virtual wholesaling, and even like leveraging. Daria actually has been on my DealMachine, and so she's in Atlanta, and that's something that you can utilize to your advantage, is being able to leverage people in other areas and other markets who you can partner with on deals. And especially if you have like an enterprise account, because that's what I use. One of the bigger accounts, like you can literally just pull JV partners on there. Like you pay for the systems and the softwares and just have JV partners go on there. And you can always export, you can actually set this in the app to where they can only export their deals. So that way you guys are they can't see anybody else's deals. They can only see the deals that you guys are going to be working on together. Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't want to monopolize by only asking my questions.
No, you're fine.
I want to open it up now to everyone listening to ask some questions. And then Hannah's going to bring people on to ask them via video.
Okay, cool. Someone did just put on there, like, what's a JV partner? So, and even if someone tells you joint venture, you probably still don't know what it is.
Yeah. Can you actually just summarize that?
Yeah. So, everyone has different definitions of what a joint venture partner is, but a joint venture would be like if David and I are working on a deal together. And in some cases, maybe I have the buyer to a property that he has under contract or a seller for. And then in that case, most of the time we might go 50-50, right? So we'll split the deal.
Amy, we're on.
Sorry.
Amy.
Come here.
See ya.
Come here.
What is that?
I don't know.
Karen?
Karen and Amy are a part of our
I'm like, we're on.
They're a part of our VIP enterprise group. So I'm so excited to see that Amy and Karen are here. Hi, Amy. Hi, Karen.
Oh, okay. I see what's going on. You're both joining us.
Yeah.
Through another video chat.
Huh? Okay. Oh, right. She's on FaceTime and I'm on with you guys. Yeah. Now you're going to ask me to ask my question, and now I shot some. Anyway, you rock, Kristina.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm very impressed. One of the questions I put in was, after you convert on those contacts, do you pay again?
No. So it's just based off of the lead flow. Now, if it is someone who's like a JV partner or something like that, or we've had that conversation, then I could pay again. But for the maintenance guys and stuff like that, it's just to add money to their weekly flow.
Okay. Thank you. And the other thing, you mentioned going into pre-foreclosures.
Mm-hmm.
Could you share a little bit about what you look for and how
in the pre-foreclosures?
Yeah.
So with the pre-foreclosures, I actually don't really look for anything. I look for them to respond.
Okay.
So one of the things that I found that was probably like the biggest problem that people had was analyzing deals before they even talk to anybody, right? So I don't want you, and I used to do this when I first got started, is that I would literally get on the computer and start pulling comps and start analyzing everything.
I'm a researchaholic too. I get it. Yeah.
And it will stop you, literally.
So you wait for them to be motivated to call you.
$30,000 off of this. And so that's probably what I would recommend you don't do. So one of the things that I would do is just either door knock to everybody, or if you want to just pull specific areas that pre-foreclosures are in, you can do that. And pre-foreclosures, I know PropStream has some stuff.
I can get them all over the place. Yeah.
I get it from the legal journal. So I'll actually get it from the legal journal, and then I'll have an admin pull, like on a daily basis, because there's new ones every day. So that is the best, most current information. And I used to do a lot of short sales when I first started because of that process.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. All right. I just want to finish what I was saying about the JV partner.
Yeah, please do. Thanks, Karen. It's nice to see you again.
Bye, Karen. Thank you. So as far as the JV partners, like a lot of times what people do is they do 50-50, right? 50% going to the buyer, the person who has the buyer, 50% going to the person who has the seller, right? Personally, I think it's more like 40-40 and then 10 for whoever does transaction coordinating. My personal opinion is like transaction coordinating, like contract to close, after you actually get everything under contract, is where deals go to die, literally. Like if you do not know how to communicate with sellers and buyers and the title company and what's going on there, your deal will die. And like proper communication throughout the whole process. So if someone is taking on that role, I think that they deserve that extra, money. And I think it's 45-45. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah. my numbers were off, but not 40-40-20. I meant 45-45-15 or 10. Yeah. Like 10 being transaction coordinating, just because that's the thing that puts it all together. Yeah.
Yep.
45, 10. Yep. Perfect. So a lot of times, like, I know like Aaron Bevins and them, they have, they JV a lot with a lot of people. And so if they take on the transaction coordinating, then, cause they're doing it in house, like I don't feel like that's part of bringing a buyer or a seller. But here's the thing. And the most amazing thing about real estate investing, whatever you and the other person agree to is what's work. That's what works. Like, don't go based off. That's how I like to do it. But
totally.
If you want to do 60-40, if you want to do 70-30, if you want to do 80-20 and that works for you, then so be it.
I saw a few people asking, what is a legal journal?
Yeah. So a legal journal is so a legal journal is where attorneys have to do postings. Okay. So a legal journal, whenever you do a foreclosure or a tax foreclosure or what's called a quiet title suit. Sorry guys, like my brain's like super title and super like technical when it comes to stuff. Whenever you do anything legal process where it is clearing up title, serving notice, anything like that, and even if you're doing like probate and there's heirs, you have to run a circuit for 30 to 45 days. That posting is ran through a legal journal. So, and that's like most, you could just subscribe to it. There's services that will actually pull legal journals and then condense it. Here in St. Louis, like there's one, it's called like Easy Foreclosure Data or something like that. And it's expensive. It's like $200 a month or $150 a month. But you're getting like the most up-to-date information. Like you're getting it on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's what I use.
Got it. Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah.
Oh, and then somebody else said, why wouldn't you go after houses that are completely run down? And we have Turner with us. Hello, Turner.
Hey, Turner. So the reason why, and it's specific to different areas, right?
Right.
So I don't go after specific rundown properties in areas that the ARV is very low, right? So I'm okay with getting rundown properties that the ARV is 200, 300, even 150. But when the ARV is only 45, 30, 20, if I get a rundown house, literally in drywall, I have 10 to 15 to $20,000,
Right.
and in systems. So I just have to be very, very careful when it comes to those things. I do a lot. I'm in the Midwest, so I'm in St. Louis. So a lot of my end buyers and myself, we're buying properties to rent them out.
Right.
So
Yeah. Same is true in Indianapolis,
yes,
where I live.
exactly.
There's totally areas where houses are only worth 40,000. So if
Correct.
it's
Yeah.
falling over, you can't put it back up for 40,000 and still make a profit.
So I just started. So my boyfriend, he was like, yeah, but you could sell it for bricks. And I was like,
Oh, that's
yeah, but
funny.
I could just
St. Louis has a
wholesale.
bunch of brick
And he's
houses.
like, but you can't wholesale it. So I'm just sell it for bricks. And I'm like, that's actually pretty accurate. Like in East St. Louis, which you're from here. So in East St. Louis, like what he used to do is like buy these properties for like $750,
Mm-hmm.
pay someone $30 a pallet to put it together, and then sell the pallet for like $120.
Just the bricks, right? Because people want
Yeah, just the
old
bricks. Just the bricks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I'm like, why didn't I think of this before? But I'm like, this is it. Hi, Turner. How are you?
Hey, Kristina.
Good. How can I help you
Good
today?
to have you on here. Let me give a shout out to David. Happy birthday, bro.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
Hey, so I'm really excited to hear about how you started and how how far you've come along. I'm at that point now where I'm ready to hire somebody, and I put a job posting in, for a bird dog.
Okay.
I think my pay structure is a little bit different than yours.
Yeah, that's
I'm at
fine.
that stage where I'm trying to decide like what's best. And so the pay structure that I decided was, that they would get paid per, if my company receives an assignment
hmm
after we close the deal, then they'll get 10% of it. And I felt like, considering about the deals around here, it's a minimum 500 is what I would want them to earn out of the deal. I mean,
Yeah.
that's from start to finish all the way to the end. That's me showing my gratitude, for, hustling and help me find this deal that put, $15,000 in my pocket, minus 500 or something like that.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then plus 55 cents a mile. Because, I used to be in a situation a long time ago where I drove around and, I didn't make money unless something happened. And so can't tell you how many.
I like that though.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, and maybe even probably adding like a minimum in there, like 50 cents per mile if you hit, 20 properties in those miles or something like that. Because I mean, if you're just driving around and and you're only putting like one deal in, is that really worth it? But I love the two parts of it, to be honest with you. Like, I really like that. Because I was going to be like, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate because now you're holding me accountable for your closing skills. And I don't like that.
Right.
Well, no, that's
That's
true.
why I
That's
like to
totally
put
right.
on contacts.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious though, because like I said, I need to scale. I don't know how many other, fellow investors are in the same situation. There's only so much I can do, from the marketing point of it, building my business, the researching, like I'm trying to get into probates right now. And so like the things I'm juggling is I've got DealMachine on hold right now. It's been on hold for a few weeks because I'm over here trying to get in my pre-foreclosures. And then the pre-foreclosures took up a lot of my time. And it's like, I can only go so deep with it and you can only campaign so long with pre-foreclosures because by auction date, you're done.
Yep.
And so it's like, I need more stream. So I thought, let me get into probates and see how that works out. So I'm kind of testing these different markets. But in the meantime, my DealMachine, my distressed properties, is on hold. And that's why I've decided to go out and see if I can hire somebody and let them do the driving for me, and we'll work through the app. Track his.
So I have a question for you. Right now, what are you doing for the probates and for the pre-foreclosures?
As far as my marketing, so I'm working off of 2 CRMs. I'm using DealMachine, for my postcards. So I've got a list I have access to. I have to upload that list into DealMachine, and then I get my cards out that way, and have the cards going out every 30 days. you know,
Okay.
for distressed properties. I just started probates, like literally just started. I have letters need a print. I just bought a brand new printer because it broke. My other one
Okay.
did. So, but yeah, so I've got DealMachine help me with my postcards.
Mm.
And then I've got another CRM that's helping me with my emailing, my texting and stuff. And so,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So I've got postcards, emails, and texting, and I'm trying to get into I forget what you call it, but the call system, so I can
Yeah.
computer animate or computer calls, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So a dialer, basically. So
But exactly.
here's what I always tell people, right? Whenever you're getting started, it does make it like a lot of work, right? Because you're trying to like do so many different things, right? So time blocking is probably your best friend right now, right? So what I would do is I would just right now, until you do hire someone, because we can't wait for other people, right? So just drive for dollars 1 hour a week. I mean, 1 hour a day, because you know, just 1 hour a day. And make it your goal to do 40, 30 to 40 properties in that. Just pick one neighborhood. Obviously, like if you're in a really nice neighborhood, you're not going to have as many deals, right? So maybe just pick one thing, right? Now, when you're doing pre-foreclosures, I just want you to stop, do not analyze the deal, and just get that postcard or that letter out. You cannot waste time with those, right? So our thing is you only have 30 days from notice of default most of the time, unless you're getting something like list pendants way before. So you said auction day, right? So do not worry about, don't look at the address, don't look at anything, just send it. Because, and what I used to do was like just a super simple, not a wordy letter at all. I put it on legal yellow pad and I'm like, hey, Beth, I'm an investor. I'm willing to help you with up to $10,000 worth of relocation assistance. Give me a call ASAP. Because, agents are messaging them. So agents are going to have agent wording. Short sale companies are trying to get with them. Everybody's giving them all this information. You want to be straight to the point. I have up to $10,000 to help you move. That's all they care about at that point. That's all they care about. And then with the probate, you already have that system. So there's no need, except unless someone mentioned like, how do I train my VAs and stuff? I source them from my friend Andrea Stakes. But if you can just create the video of how you do it, like just create the video of how you do it one time. If you're pulling data, you can outsource that admin task.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
And just have someone pull that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every day. Maybe they're just working a couple hours and that's their daily task.
Yeah, and I have looked into that too. In fact, I was ready to go and use, virtual assistants. I spoke with somebody that provides them. I was looking at the cost structure for it, and I thought, well, let me land a couple deals first, and then we'll talk about the VMs.
Yeah.
Plus, let me get the groundwork going so I know what how things work.
Yeah.
So I'm getting my hands dirty, learning the business.
And that's perfect.
Ground level.
You can't teach anybody.
Yeah.
You can't teach anybody if you've never done it before.
Exactly.
And even if you get a virtual assistant, I bombed my first virtual assistant. Like I had to fire them because I didn't even know what to give them to do.
Yeah.
And it was so inconsiderate. Like that was so terrible, but I didn't even know what to give them. So I think just structuring it out. And I do think that you have to have several different like irons in the fire, to see what hits first. Right. But the reality is like, you have to have a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's
especially if you're trying to make a business out of it.
That's something I've learned. You hear a lot about how great, real estate investing is. How easy it is. You don't need any money. You use other people's money. It's great to walk into the business, but then you realize if you're going to make money, you got to go deep. You got to go wide. It takes time, and it does take money.
And every once in a while, here's the thing, right? So this is a great story because it's actually a DealMachine lead. But so one of my friends, her name's Morgan, she's an attorney and she's a real estate broker. And she literally was driving for dollars in the neighborhood and she literally took, sorry, he's really obnoxious and doesn't listen. Sit down. It's his first day back. So, You know, we're rehouse training.
You're good. You're good.
But anyway, so he basically what she did was literally went to a neighborhood, took all these deal machines, and she sent them postcards and cold called them, right? She skip traced them and cold called. And it took her a while to get like this person to commit, because it was like an old lady, and then the granddaughter was living there. It was like a whole process and stuff. But I mean, she made $27,000.
Sure.
I paid her a $27,000 assignment. So like my whole thing is like, yes, you're right. There's a lot of things and there's a lot of consistency. And then sometimes like your first deal is $27,000 and it makes everything worth it.
Well, I agree.
So I mean, it's just honestly just consistency, everything in the fire. And like, if I can give any piece of advice, like ever to anybody who's starting, is do not overthink the profit. Like, do not overthink the process at all. And talk to your sellers the same way you would want someone to talk to you if you were in that situation, right? So if you're struggling to pay your bills, what do you care about? Getting caught up, right? So I want someone to speak that language. Like when you're doing these postcards and you're doing marketing material, make it simple. Like they're getting letters from the bank that are this long with all kinds of words and numbers. Like make it as simple as possible for them. And just be consistent, be in front of them and call them, text them, like do whatever you have to do, and give yourself a budget every month. You know, stick to a budget, give yourself grace, because it's not always easy. And yeah, they sell it as a dream.
They do. But you know, it's worth it. So anybody who's listening,
I believe that.
out there, I'm telling you, if your heart's into it, you're gonna make it work. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of great learning experience. Been a lot of fun. And I owe a lot of it to David, man, for putting out this program. This program is awesome, and I love these
it helps so
guests
much.
we have and the guests that he puts on there. So, David, thanks a lot. Kristina, thank you for your
Thanks for coming on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Turner.
Appreciate it.
I wanted to leave my 2 cents on your payment structure too, right? You're doing like a percentage, 10% whenever you're closing a deal is what you had in mind. And then I also heard you say that you're thinking about paying like per mile as long as they add so many houses was what Kristina added, right?
Yeah, she added that.
Cool. I think that's a great hybrid. I think the second part of like kind of immediate payment is really important. In my experience, they'll fizzle out unless they're like a family member, you know, and trust you and will wait around for a payout. So I love that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Turner.
So I'm going to catch up on a couple little questions.
Yeah, please.
So someone said, what are the value of the neighborhoods that you're riding through? I think that's for us. So honestly, it varies. Like, I mean, I've bought houses for as little as $10,000 cash and upwards of that. So the value of the neighborhoods go from literally $15,000 all the way up to $500,000. So that's not necessarily like the big thing. As far as deals coming from DealFinders, I would say probably, I mean, I drive for dollars every once in a while, but I would say from them, it's actually more than it is from me.
Mm-hmm.
What are your VA tasks? Honestly, I mean, property management stuff, but a lot of admin stuff, like I'll pull lists and get them cleaned up. I'll just make one video one time and then just have them like watch it.
When you say property management stuff, do you mean getting leases signed, making sure rent's paid, and
everything?
Anything but physically being in the property, I guess.
Yeah, coordinating maintenance.
Gotcha.
Leases. Yeah, everything that doesn't include actually physically being there, making like a scope of work or anything like that.
Awesome.
Yep. Okay, so someone asked, this is actually a good question. How are you offering the pre-foreclosure up to $10,000? Is that once we close on the property? Yeah. So, the reason I got that number was because every loan that was originated like prior to 2007, when they were doing like, was it 2007? Yeah, it was something like that. 2007, 2006. Every loan that was done before that time period, whenever you would do a short sale, the banks were offering relocation assistance up to $10,000 if the person qualified, right? So that's how I actually got that idea. And it worked very, very well because some of these pre-foreclosures are actually going to be short sales. You're not going to be able to cash them out. Some of them don't have equity. Some of them are foreclosures for HOA liens. Some of them are foreclosures for banks or liens or HELOCs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of all over the place.
And what is a short sale?
So a short sale is just like when you, okay, so like let's say that someone owes $100,000, right, on their balance.
Mm-hmm.
And the house is only worth, let's say that the house is worth, I don't know, 70,000, right? But it also needs repairs. So let's say it's 70,000 and it needs $20,000 worth of work too, right?
Okay.
So as is value is 50. So you go to the bank and you literally, John, I'm looking to work at a cabinet company. No, I'm just kidding. One of my friends just asked me if I'm hiring, but he's an entrepreneur. Anyways, so what happens is you go to the bank and you present them an offer and you let them know like, hey, these repairs are just super expensive, or, you know, it has foundation issues or just something really, really big. But the person, like the seller, has to have a financial hardship. That's what it's called. So medical bills, whatever it is. It could be one of a million thousand things. But you go to the bank and they decide that they'll take your offer of $40,000, right? It's a long drawn out process. If you're interested in going after foreclosures, you really need to have a short sale negotiator on your team. Nicole Espinoza is probably one of the best ones. She's national, so not specific to any market. And she'll basically help you negotiate the process. She'll see if the person's qualified to go through a short sale.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Chris is the hype man of a century. Chris Monroe, he's in my market. He's amazing.
Here in St. Louis. That's right.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I agree.
Yeah.
We've got another guest with us. Blake, are you there?
Okay, so her name's Nicole Espinoza. She's out in Dallas.
Oh, and
but
she's the
her
short sale
company,
queen.
her company's called the Short Sale Queen. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oops. Oh. While we're waiting, I'm gonna look at.
Hey, Blake. Blake, I think I can hear you. Are you there?
Yep. Are you still waiting for someone?
Yeah, I think Hannah is pulling somebody else.
Okay. Are you going?
So I see Dan's there, but he does not have a video icon, and he's currently muted.
All right. I'm gonna just pick a question while we wait.
Yeah.
So someone asked, are you doing short sale negotiations in-house? Yes, I do, just for the deals that we do, but we really don't do that many. Maybe have like 2 to 3 going at a time. How are you legally able to pay the homeowner? I think they're talking about the relocation assistance. So the relocation assistance that the bank usually used to offer was at closing. So very similar to cash for keys. Yeah. So it's just like above and beyond what the payment is. Like a lot of times what people think is like they can't sell their house or it needs too many repairs or something like that. So just being able to offer them a solution, because a lot of them just want to get into a rental property, but then they don't have like security deposit or they don't have like first and last month's rent or whatever. So just like being able to let them know like that we can help up to 10,000, and it might even be more than that. Like if the deal permits that we can give them 20 or 30,000, then we will. But a lot of times on these low equity deals, you know, it is just going to be like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And it is at closing. Yeah, honestly, Chris, I know you asked, so he was asking about loan modifications for the homeowners. if someone is able to get a loan modification, I will help them get a loan modification way over, a short sale. But if you don't have income, and usually it's just like if your income has reduced, is that that they will go ahead and do a loan mod.
Joy.
Bank in Georgia won't allow side agreements with the seller. Yeah, I mean, so hold on one second. So the biggest thing is, now this isn't above and beyond a short sale. So what I'm saying is the short sale, they have the bank and the seller, the bank pays the seller if there's any relocation. We're not involved in that if there is a short sale. But if we are targeting pre-foreclosures, my marketing is always going to say that we can help them get up to 10,000. Just because that is what most people are concerned about, is being able to relocate and have money to relocate.
Joy, you there?
Yeah, my camera's broke.
Hey, I'm glad you're here with us on audio.
And
How are you?
it's a new computer, so I gotta take it back to the geek squad. No, I'm glad to be here. I know. So it's Tree Garcia. I'm down here in Baytown, which is on the east side of Houston.
Okay.
But my question for Kristina was, if you could go into detail on how you structure and work your JVs through DealMachine. Just how you set it up, how you work it.
Yeah, so it really depends, and it's going to be dependent on who the JV partner is, right? So a lot of JV partners, they might not have any experience, right? So they're going to need a little bit more cuddling and help and support. Some people, like my intern, our agreement is basically she will have access to the DealMachine. She'll be able to input any deals that she wants. She can export them, cold call them, do whatever she wants, right? Now, whenever she locks up a deal, then we will basically, I will find a buyer for her deal. So that's kind of how we structure that. Now, with someone, another person, they don't have like that luxury, like they're just putting deals in, and then we have it kind of worked out where I will help them walk through the process because they've never done a deal before. So they'll still put the deals in. My cold caller will actually cold call, initiate contact, make contact with them, set the appointment, and then we let the JV partner know, hey, we set an appointment. Do you want to come to the appointment? Do you want to know the process? And then it's different. Like some JV partners get 20%, some get 30, some get 40, some get 50. It just really depends on how involved they are in the deal. That's probably like my favorite thing about real estate investing is that there's no set way of doing anything. Like it's just whatever you're willing to accept and whatever you're willing to offer.
Yeah. So you just so the JVs basically they're approaching you. So I mean you're not out looking for JVs. These are people that approach you because they know who you are and what you've done in real estate.
I mean, I think it's kind of a catch-22 because whenever I do talk to people, I do tell them like, hey, like I have these tools and resources. You can leverage me if you're interested in learning,
Right. Yeah. I
a lot of people, like, they don't really want to do the work, if that makes sense.
Right. I didn't know if, I guess so do your deal finders have that opportunity to JV on with you on every deal?
I mean, if they want to, yeah.
How do you differentiate between just a deal finder and JVs?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is like the commitment level. Like if they're just looking for extra cash and that's just going to be, a couple $100, a couple, whatever it is that they're willing to commit to the process, then that person, like my maintenance guys, like they're not JV partners. Like they don't really, like that's not their thing.
Right.
Like they're just trying, they're just 10-hour, 12-hour, $15, $25 workers, and they just want to work. Like that's their thing. So this is just extra cash. But a JV partner to me is someone who like actually wants to be an entrepreneur and wants to do the business. So it's like me kind of guiding them and helping them through their first couple deals. And I always tell people, I'm like, I don't want you to need me for the rest of your life. Like I want you to know how to do it. So either you're going to be involved in all steps and you can, come to appointments or do whatever you want to do. But that's based on that level of commitment, I think, really.
Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate it.
And maybe you just put it to where kind of like what I said, 45, 15, like break down the deal. Like the appointment, getting a contract is worth this much, and you can kind of structure it out. Like these are the places where you can jump in. If you don't jump in these, you don't get paid for that. If I handle this, then it's, my piece of it.
And you do like a legal agreement for every deal, or how do you handle
You
that?
can just do like a payment. Yeah. A payment agreement or a contract. Like basically, like based on these things, like this is how, we will split the profits of a deal.
Right. I didn't know, like for somebody starting out, did you actually went through a legal agreement, or you just kind of 1099'd them?
Yeah, I usually just pay out, to be honest with you. Like a lot of people like do these 1099s and stuff like that. I try to pay on the HUD as much as possible because I don't even want the money to come to my account.
Makes sense.
Like I don't even want Mr. Taxman to think that I got money that I didn't get. So, if they're, and like people think it's way more legit, way more real when they get it from the title company. So
yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
But like everything, and I keep saying it like a million times, like that's the thing I love about real estate is just whatever you're willing to commit to it.
Right. No, well, I appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Choi. It's good to see you again on another webinar, and good luck with your computer and the Geek Squad.
Yeah, well, I guess with COVID, you can't get through them.
You got to be careful. Yep.
All right. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so someone asked me about my monthly marketing.
I guess I had a good question.
Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good. Adrian's still on here. So it says, how do you work a deal? We find a deal in St. Louis. I want a JV with you. Would you work with them and help guide them through the process of learning to do virtual? So one of the biggest things about like St. Louis is that most of the time I'm the end buyer, right? So one of the biggest problems that I have is that people will like come and then like I tell them everything about the market and do everything, and then like they're assholes, to be honest, and then they don't even send me deals. And now they go out and they market them to everybody else. So I'm willing to give criteria. But as far as like actually like JVing like a scalable thing, like I'm the end buyer. So feel free to like send me the deal. And then I can tell you kind of the areas that I market in and stuff. But at the end of the day, like if you have a deal in St. Louis, I'm probably going to be the end buyer most of the time. So
That's a pretty awesome thing to say.
yeah. Most of the time. I mean, there's times that I wholesale. I mean, I still wholesale a lot, but a lot of the times, like either I'm taking it down and then I'm selling it later, or I'm selling it to like I have a fund, and that's just kind of like I'm making that decision. So I just feel like it's way more valuable. Yep. And that's honestly like that's like one of the biggest things, like and I don't have a problem with like telling anybody what the process is or anything, but the biggest issue is like I just walked you through like everything that you need to do to virtually wholesale in St. Louis, and now like you don't even pass the deals first through me, like so it's kind of it's kind of ridiculous. The best way to probably get in contact with me is through Instagram. It's just Kristina. Actually, what is my Instagram? I just changed it, so I think it's just Kristina.
Look it up right now and I'll put it in the chat for you, girl.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just Kristina Aguilera _ Yeah.
Love that name.
I'm so excited.
What do you
I
have?
love how you guys like put my my married name, like, because honestly, like I just feel like people are like, who is Kristina Aguilera? Because I've just been on the scene as Kristina Spells for so long.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the best way. DMs, I'm willing to help you through, all kinds of things. As far as like, as someone asked about like deal analyzing and stuff like that. So there's several videos on YouTube on how I analyze rental properties. So if you're in a market that does like a lot of rentals and things like that, definitely watch those videos.
Awesome. I think maybe Elise or Hannah could post those in the chat too.
Yeah,
for sure. What is behind you? Is that a deal board?
So actually this is super duper old, but I have like some tenant move-ins that we were just like, this is actually like, I'm at home, so like I don't really update my board here as much, but like if my boyfriend and I are going through like stuff, we'll just like put one of these big post-it notes up and then I just don't take it off.
That's a post-it note?
Yeah, so it's these like big post-its.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So you can buy these on Amazon. Like they have like 2 packs for like $30 or whatever. But it's like sticky, so you can stick it up on the wall and you can write on it. I just love it. Like if I whenever I mind map or do like instead of having like a dry erase board, then I can have it and I can take pictures of it instead of like smearing it down.
Now, what's a mind map? You just said mind map.
Yeah, so like a mind map is like a process map is usually what I kind of do. So if I'm trying to explain something to someone, I will literally like go through every step, like if I've never done it before, so that they can watch a video and like know very detailed like what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What else?
Well,
I think it's Khadijah. I will be coming to Chicago. Do not worry. Do not. Just wait for COVID. Yeah.
it has been a full hour, so I wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome, for sure. Do you want to answer a couple more questions, or are we just?
I'll be here for another hour. We usually do like a demo after these.
Okay.
And yeah, if you want to answer some more questions, I think people would really like that. If you're
Yeah, for sure. Whatever questions you guys have. I mean, it could be about someone asked about the fund, so I'll talk about that. There's just so many things. Like I do a lot of rental properties, so like that's one of my biggest things. But if I can, I mean, just as far as like advice goes, if you can really get good at thinking and processing deals like your end buyer, you will be so much more profitable. Like one thing that I got really, really good at when I first started investing was I would ask like the end buyers what their return on investment they wanted. Like what exactly like expenses they were taking out of their equation. And I got so good at analyzing deals. I told someone the other day, I'm like, yo, go on the MLS, even if there's shit deals on the MLS, I don't care. I just want you to practice analyzing deals, run comps, like run the ARV on it, put your offer together, like do whatever it is, like, and just analyze 5 to 10 deals like every single day until it like becomes habit for you. Like you learn how to comp really good and you learn how to do things that most people are not spending the time doing, you know, and then they're waiting for like the deal to actually get there. Like I'm not saying analyze deals that you like a pre-foreclosure and like analyzing the whole thing and then calling them. But my thing is like, just get dumb deals. Like just, okay, what would my offer be? Because here's the reality. It doesn't matter how much they owe. Your offer is your offer. So if they owe $100,000 and your offer is 50, that's not going to be a deal anyways. And so getting so emotional, right, in that process of like, oh, I don't know what to offer them. Like they already did, you know, they already told me that that they owed $100,000. Okay, well, it's not a deal. So stop trying to force something and stop trying to waste time on things that are just not going to work.
Right. So,
you know, that same person, okay, is it $100,000? Do they qualify for a short sale, right? Research a short sale. Do they qualify for a loan modification? If they qualify for a loan modification, that puts zero money in your pocket, but it might be the best thing for them. So who cares? If at the end of the day, you're going to do a lot of things in this business that don't necessarily make you money. But I'll tell you one thing. I made the most money from deals that didn't make me any money. And the way I say that is because I helped someone through a loan modification. The second that they heard that someone was going through a situation, they would call me because they're like, well, you know, she's going to do what's in your best interest, not what makes her money.
Totally.
And if you can just approach it from that perspective, like, it's just so much better.
You have to be long-term greedy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. What's the minimum amount of calls you expect your outbound cold callers to make daily? So my cold callers are on a dialer. And depending on the kind of list that they're on and stuff like that, we usually run on a 6-line dialer through call tools. So here's the thing. A lot of times, here's the biggest thing. If you're running on a dialer, you're going to be making a lot of calls. These are not qualified leads. These are just names and numbers. So if you're doing cold calling at volume, you should have at least 12,000 minimum names and numbers of people who own houses on a monthly basis. So that should be enough data for your cold caller on a monthly basis. That includes recycling lists, right? So most of your lists are going to be called a lot. Like we call our list 6 times in 1 week so that we can literally scrub through. And if we don't make contact, then we'll space it out later. But I want to run through all my disconnected numbers. I want to get all my wrong numbers out of the way so that I can clean up that list as quickly as possible. I don't want to put them in there and now we're calling the wrong people, which those leads are not going to convert. So those are just really important things.
When you say a 6-line dialer, does that mean it's calling 6 numbers at one time?
Correct. So a 6-line dialer in call tools, it can be up to a 10-line dialer. I feel like 10 lines just is too much. 6 lines is kind of like our sweet spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that minimizes the time they're like waiting for somebody to connect.
Correct. And I mean, you still have like an abandon rate and stuff like that. Because what happens is like if someone, let's say 2 people answer, 3 people answer, there's like a recording that says hello, hello, and then now you can just call that person back. So you know that it's a live number and you can call them back.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. How did you learn the closing process for wholesaling? So I'm not exactly sure what that means. It says assignment of contract, but I learned it like I just did like a general class on wholesaling like through Rich Dad. But how I got really, really good at it, like the process of it, was just like keep doing it. Like obviously the first time I did it, I was probably terrible, but I just kept on doing it. Now, if you're talking about like contract to close, the transaction part, I got really good at that because I got a job at a title company. So I learned like what information the title company needs. So that's why transaction coordinating is so valuable, is that whenever I send a contract over to the title company, they literally have everything that they absolutely need. They don't need to call me for anything. We're following up with them. So yeah, that's basically that. Someone said, can you both give the best advice to someone like me who has not done a single deal, but is super motivated? Simple, easy, and realistic. Do you want to go for it?
Yeah. So I would say you need to find 300 rundown houses, go drive around, look for those rundown houses, and then cold call every single one, right? Skip trace and cold call every single one. Or if you are limited on time, like send out a mailer to each one of those houses 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. And I mean, if you don't, if you don't really know exactly how to skip trace or export or do anything like that, one, you can obviously skip trace directly to the app. If you have, like, if you're going to mail or anything like that, like there's export features. Like if you need to export and then go and like put Post-it notes on the doors, whatever you need to do to make that work. Mm-hmm. Honestly, my biggest thing of advice is to take action, like fail forward, messy and perfect action. That you can't really like say the wrong thing to the right person. Mm-hmm. So if someone is desperate and they need your help, like there's almost nothing that you can say to them.
Right.
Like, I remember this deal. There's literally this deal that we're working on, right? And we already closed on it. But like the lady, I'm like, man, I really can't help you. Like your loan balance is too high. Well, so she's like, I mean, can't you just like pay the mortgage and can't you do this? And I'm like, you're so desperate.
Right. Yeah, that's what
like,
I was.
They'll just tell you, like, just
totally. When I was first starting out in 2016, I thought like, oh man, like I'm gonna have to know how to be a salesperson, and right, that stuff's really powerful, especially over a large volume of conversations.
At scale.
I didn't have any of those skills, and the very first deal that I did, the guy called me and he's like, "Hey, I got your postcard," and I said, "Okay," and he said, "I'd like to sell you my house." Yeah, he's like, "I'd like to sell you my house." I said, "Okay, how about I come and see it?" He's like, "Okay, how about 7?" I was like, "Okay," and like that was the extent of my sales conversation.
The extent of it.
Right. We said okay, 3 times, and then hung up, visited, took some pictures. I was like, "I'll get back to you in a day." Right? Because
I think I'm supposed to take.
I had no idea what to do next. Right. So, but I had all these pictures. and like he had surgery, so he couldn't cut the grass anymore. He couldn't maintain his house. So he was going into like a more of like an assisted living thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I came up with a number and I sent him an offer, called him, said, hey, this is the offer. And then like a few hours later, he just signed it. So if I like think back, as like didn't really have any skill there, but just like to listen and like think about, oh, what is the next step I should be doing? But
And the thing that's crazy about that is like it's never really about the house. Like when I go on appointments or I go walk houses and stuff, like I never talk about the house. Like very rarely. Because the house isn't really like, I mean, the house is causing the problem, or selling the house could be the solution to the problem.
Yeah.
But like, it's not really about the house. So like a lot of times I remember like people going in and they're like, okay, I need to like, I remember a wholesaler was like, oh yeah, we definitely have to like tear down this wall and we have to like do this and we gotta do this. I'm like, I literally pulled him to the side and I said, if you don't shut up, we're gonna have a problem. Like I'm about to send you to your car.
Totally.
We're not talking about the house. Like I don't even care about
want
the
to hear about that.
Yeah. So it's just interesting. But yeah, I don't really think, I mean, I think like at scale and you're trying to like operate in like a full blown business, obviously you have to have sales skills. Cause you're going to have to like convince people that don't really want to sell. But someone who actually wants to sell and needs to sell, not even wants to sell, like needs to sell, you don't really have to do much convincing.
No.
And that's how David got his first deal.
It was a $6,000. I got it for $4,700.
That's crazy.
I know. Well, and then I put the renovation on my credit cards. So then I had 50,000 in. I got these no interest cards, right? So for a full year, I didn't have to pay anything or pay any interest.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's rented for $1,200 a month now, right? There wasn't even really a good comp, but I just had
1,200.
Yeah, it's 600 square feet. It's rented for $1,200 a month. He thought I was going to bulldoze it, and I think a lot of people would have, right? Because it almost
if
was,
they were smart.
Yeah, on paper. I mean, I was kind of like stupid lucky, but I just trusted my gut. On paper, it wasn't worth any more than $45,000. So it was exactly one of those deals that we were just talking about. We're like, it's like you can't do much with it, but. I thought it would rent because it was like right downtown and it was really close to a college. So
that's so funny. I always tell people, I'm like, like the craziest thing. And I think this is basically a prime example of this deal. Like you were stupid enough to think it would actually work.
Yeah. And it worked.
Like I was stupid enough to think it worked and it actually worked, where most people would be like, not going to happen. All right. I'm going to just take like 2 more questions so you guys can do your demo.
Cool.
Can you break down that deal you paid $27,000 assignment fee? ARV. Okay, so I thought I was gonna list for like 170. I'm actually listing for 198 because something sold like right after. Crazy. I don't know if we're gonna actually get 198, but we'll see. Like it's gonna be the top of the market. So even if we sell for 185, we'll be fine. So that's the ARV. Then purchase price. So she got it for $60,000. I bought it for $87,000. And then putting in about 35 into it. So it's a nice day, a nice payday.
Wow.
Yeah. So someone said, what title company do you use for your deals? Depends what kind of deal I'm doing. Most of my deals go to Old Republic in South County. And then like my subject twos and then some other deals go to Copper Title with Leslie Steinlein, on Olive Copper Title.
Cool. It's good to
Yeah.
have the title companies that know about real estate investing.
Honestly, like that's one thing that we are so lucky of here in St. Louis. Like we have some of the best title companies. Like literally there's probably like 1 or 2 that I will not close with, but we have very good look. Like most of our title companies are very investor friendly.
Awesome.
Like, so that's something that we're really, really lucky about. One more question. So what method or software do you use to make offers and find out ARVs? So one thing that I got really, really good at was building like relationships, right? So like the first couple years of my business, I was at every single, literally, like ask anybody that was around 4 or 5 years ago, I was at every single networking event, like every single one, all of them, every day, all the time. And like networking, I would go to agent stuff and like let them know that I was a buyer, like all kinds of stuff. And honestly, that relationship and like that leverage allowed me to really, really like scale out. PropStream honestly is like really, really good comps wise. Like I've put it next to a lot of different softwares, and I've even put it next to the MLS, and it's very, very accurate. So PropStream is probably one of like the best softwares out there. I personally believe to look at like lean information and like it just has like a lot of different things. So that's why I like it. But thankfully I actually have a property manager. Like my girl that sits at my office is a licensed agent, so I just can use the MLS. I pay for the MLS, so I can use it. But it's very like, honestly, PropStream, most of the time, like if I'm home, I just get on the PropStream and it's almost the same exact thing. PropStream, PROPSTREAM. Yeah, PropStream. So, and they have like a mobile app now and stuff. So it just allows you to see like, and even let you see like estimated loan balance. So that kind of helps you a little bit as well. Yeah. But I had an awesome time with you, David.
Thank you so much, Kristina.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Feel free to DM me on Instagram if you need anything or have any questions, need any resources. But definitely leverage your DealMachine, postcards, export, everything. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Bye. Wow. Isn't she inspiring? It's so cool. We're going to go ahead and do a demo for you guys. If anyone wants to stick around, we will show you how to get started with DealMachine and how to use some features you might not know about. And Elise is going to join me for that.
I'm like Kristina, I'm giving my dog the glare right now of L-A. What is up, DealMachine fam? That was
Yeah.
boss. That was so good. I love Kristina and her energy.
For sure. Kristina's awesome.
All right, we've got a lot of people wanting a demo, so I'm super excited to go through this.
Awesome.
If you guys don't already, I'm dropping it right now in the chat, but go subscribe and put notifications on for our channel. I know you guys hear that all the time with every YouTube person, but like we're dropping videos every day that bring value to you and getting what the most out of DealMachine for what you're paying for. And if you're using the free CRM, seeing what else you can do with our software. So I'm going to drop that right now. Oh, Hannah already did. Never mind. My girl Hannah already did it. So go subscribe, notifications. We go live Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays too. So you guys can ask questions then as well.
Awesome. 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 So where do we start?
I was thinking about this, and I think starting right here is like perfect because so many people were asking, okay, I have properties in, what do I do next? Or like people have analysis paralysis. I don't know, a lot of people know that, like, guys, we know this is a lot of text right over on your right, but like these are the success steps for DealMachine. So I think kind of going over this is like, and we are having a new quick start guide video coming out. Our videographer is putting his magic on it. So I told him to take his time and make it perfect. So it will be out and it's going to go over all of this. So literally just follows through. We want you to be successful. So we literally spelled it out right here.
Yep. So number one is clarify why you're using DealMachine. You know, if you just pick something up and you're not really motivated by something, or like Kristina was talking about, like for her, she needed the $90,000 hanging over her head to get out from that situation where she got let go, you know, as the insurance broker and didn't really have anywhere else to turn. So yours doesn't need to be extreme, but remembering why you're using DealMachine in the first place is powerful. So identify that. And then the next step is to download the mobile app. So once you've signed up, you need the DealMachine mobile app so you can add those properties while you're out driving.
Yes. So, and then adding properties, so sorry.
You're good.
Adding properties, you know, you can, you know, Kristina has her drivers. She has maintenance people driving for her. We do have it to where our plans are scalable. We did that for a reason, to get you guys focused on getting your deal and then scaling as you go and giving you those other resources. So getting in there, getting, you know, properties moving. 300 is what we want you to shoot for. You need a good solid list. I mean, this is an organic list of leads. People
You've
are
built that nobody else has, right? That's a huge difference in what you're doing with DealMachine, is you're building your own list.
right. And then reaching out is like huge. And I know this is where it gets scary, right? Because you have to either cold call, you have to send postcards, which means that you'll probably get people calling you, which means you'll have to talk to them and sound like you know what you're doing. And I'll tell you right now, I had analysis paralysis, and David, I was putting my PO box on there and sending out mail. Just setting it up was like not making me put it out. And David's like, you got to just do it, Elise. So I did it, and I freaked out. I was in the office when I got my first call, and I was like, David, what do I ask him? What do I ask him? Calm down. It's all okay. I think Kristina said it best. Like, just build rapport with them. They're a human being. You're just trying to help them. So figure out and just do it. Go reach out. Track your driving routes. So on professional and enterprise, you can have the real-time route tracking, which really helps, especially as you grow your team. This helps you know how many deals you've added in that time, where you've driven already, mileage for tax purposes, things like that. We already talked about you get to that 300 properties. And then guys, being realistic with this, like if you're just, you know, you got to give it time. It's not gonna just happen overnight. So we say market for 120 days. Like you got to be realistic with that. So those are the big things. So this is right here in your dashboard for you to always look at. We linked anything we thought that was going to be really helpful for you guys. I want every single one of you to be one of these case studies that keep popping up right here. And I want your pretty faces to be right there where people can look at that.
Me too. So I don't know if we had a couple on the chat there that said they need to be on there.
Danny Garcia right here. I want this man on my live. I want him on my live, or he's going to be on a webinar. I know he is.
We need to get Danny Garcia on our YouTube channel. I want to hear Danny's story. Please schedule a call with me, Danny.
Yes. And also, David, can you scroll up? I want everyone to know too, your activity feed is on here now. And this is huge, especially if you have a team in the CRM. So this shows literally everything that you, wow, David, that's a good, oh, I was with you when you took that picture. Never mind. So it shows every piece of activity. You're like, how many mailers did I send out? How many, what did this do? Like, this is where it's at. Okay. And then this is also where your analytics are now. We used to have a tab. It's now, if you scroll down on this page, you will have your analytics here. So don't think they're gone. They're still there.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go up here.
So what kind of analytics should we look at?
I always look at how many I added in the last week so I can keep myself accountable.
Leads added 4 weeks or month to date. So I really slacked off here on this account.
David also has like a couple of accounts. So like we have to give him his original account. He has a lot of leads.
Yeah, I know. I would use it as my personal account that I'm marketing with. And then we would use it for demos because it had like a lot of live data. And then like other DealMachine team members would use it for demos. And then my like personal account would get clouded with fake properties, and then I had to start another one. I've done that like 3 times.
CEO problems. Like
I just want my own account.
Okay, so I don't know. Do you know this? Elizabeth says she's using LACRM.
Oh no, I haven't heard of that.
I haven't heard of that either. And you should be able, usually we have Zapier integrations that you can use. Usually for most CRMs, I know a lot of our users use different CRMs that they can put Zaps in, or Ella, I'm on the phone. And so you can export your data from DealMachine and import it into that as well. But we have just turned into a CRM, so just want to plop that there.
Should we jump to the map?
Yes, because Misha wants to know how you add a property, and we will do that. I wanted to, Hannah answered Edward. Yes, you can import a list. We'll show you how to do that too. Danny, since you're on Enterprise now, man, we're going to have our 4-week onboarding period. So I'm going to show you all the things. But we will go over that as well. So David, I would go step by step of like how you get driving with DealMachine, how you start going.
Sure. I get in my car and I look for a rundown house. And then when I see it, I pull up my DealMachine app on my phone. It looks just like this on your phone. And then you click on a black dot and then you can see, okay, this is corporate owned. It doesn't matter because it's run down. So I'm going to add any property that's run down. And now I've added the property. I can actually skip trace to see who owns Recaz LLC. And it turns out it's owned by Hassam Wanis. And Hassam's phone number is right here. I can text it. I'd probably say, hey, Hassam, this may be out of the blue. I'm a neighbor. I live in Fountain Square neighborhood. And I was wondering if you'd accept an offer on your property at 1139 Span Avenue. And I'd probably send him a picture of his own property. Or I would just actually send a mailer. So depends on if I'm in a driving mode or if I'm in like a talkative mode.
David has, while we were walking to lunch, has taken a selfie with a for sale by owner sign and texted them with the picture of him in front of the sign.
I like doing that because that's really going to stand out.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I will say, so a couple of things on the app that we're on the web right now, but when you get in your car, number one, turn on your location, track your location.
That's right here.
Yeah, little arrow. And then that's going to lock into your location. And then you're going to press start driving at the bottom. And then that's going to start, it's going to give you a dashboard at the top that's going to show you like where you're, how many deals you've added, how long you've been driving and everything like that. David is showing you right now. That is like big steps to just start with and then go at it. Every Wednesday I switch off between virtual and real-time driving for dollars. So we go through all of that, but this is like a good demo part of that. So we can send even corporate owners. I find a lot of them. Yeah, David, tell them what you taught me about corporate owned properties and how to market.
Sure. Yeah, well, as you saw, I just skip traced a corporate owner, so you can actually text them. I also typically would change up what I say to them because they formed a corporation to hold their property. So they've got to be on a different mind level than somebody who's just an absentee owner, accidental landlord, or owns the house and lives in it. So I typically just say like, hey, do you want to buy more properties like this? Right. And if they want to sell it, they'll have the opportunity to say that. But oftentimes I find they appreciate you talking to them in that way. Just like Kristina said, hey, if somebody's behind on their bills, use the language to help them get caught up, So that's kind of what I like to do. I even have this postcard that's for buyers. I think it's on this account. Should I show them?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Everyone's commenting on your deal credits.
I've got a command that I can give myself as many deal credits as I want. All right. I think, here it is, buyer postcard for LLCs. Let me hit the preview. Yeah, so this is an example. If you zoom in here, you could say, it says, want to buy more properties like this? I provide discount properties to investors in city. That's like a field. I'll show you that you can use that automatically gets input to the city of the property. And I would like to invite you to sign up to my buyers list. So text me the word buyer to get notified of the best deals selling, worth 100K, selling for 50K. So they're going to get a good discount. So then that's how I handle those LLC owners.
Could you also show highlights?
Oh yeah. All right. So click on the filters and let's look at all the absentee owned properties and save. Let's see.
You have to zoom in a little bit.
Oh, do I? Okay. Dave was showing me some this week where it'll, there you go. All right. So these green guys are the absentee owned properties. So we're in downtown St. Louis, that we're not really in a residential area. Okay, now we're in a residential area. So this is showing you more absentee owned properties. Now we could even like narrow it down to say, is it vacant? And there's like fewer.
Oh!
Yeah, there's fewer, but here they are right here. Right there, down below, up here. I'm gonna zoom out even more. Okay, it says zoom in.
Game changer, guys. That literally just happened this week.
That just happened.
That just happened.
What else do you want to see?
Okay, so also hot Cheetos and soda pop. This is St. Louis. David's not in Indy anymore.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Nope. Can you please provide a template for your buyer's postcard? Let me look that up really quick. Why don't you go to, I know, was it?
Oh, we might automatically provide it. Go in your account and look under templates. I think it might be a default one, but if not, I can definitely do that.
All the things. So we could go to, well, okay, so leads list I would want to go into, but Danny did ask about the landing page for recruiting drivers.
Okay. Well, should we just work through it in sequential order so everyone can follow along?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the leads list next. All right, so here are all the leads that I have tagged in my map or uploaded. Somebody asked me if you could upload a list. Yes, you can. It's right here on this top right. And you can view any one of these. It'll pop open a side drawer. And it looks like this one's vacant. Look at that.
So is that one.
That's right.
And that one.
It must be a vacant list. All right, so yeah, never know what's going to be in your demo account that the entire team uses. You know what I mean?
Yes. Sorry, I'm reading questions.
Hey, check this out, guys. So some of you guys wanted bigger pictures. We have a button here that makes your pictures bigger, I think.
Yep. And you guys can customize any columns that you want to Edward, pending approval means that you haven't started marketing to them. Yes, we do have virtual driving for dollars, so you can actually drive anywhere in the United States. David, do you want to answer the how accurate and recent is the vacant information?
It's updated weekly and it's from the post office. So basically the mailman will notice, hey, they haven't checked their mail in like 3, 4, or 5 days. And then part of his process is to like report back when a house is vacant. So they stop delivering mail to the house. That's where that information comes from.
So one of the big things I find really useful, and we have a lot of questions about for the list view, and we actually just dropped a video about it today, is organizing your list by doing filters and bulk editing. So David and Dave, our CTO, have put together presets that you can make that makes organizing your leads just so much easier and approving them. So, yes, preset filters. That's right. So David, why don't you show the good people about filters and presets?
Okay. Filters and presets. Filters. Over here, you can filter all these leads by a certain status. So let's say marketing complete and use selected. All right, so none of my deals have had marketing complete. So let me go back to this filter and change it to pending approval. So these are leads that like I've added or my team has added that need to be approved. So once I've got those, it says showing filtered leads, pending approval. I can click the top checkbox to select the 25 on this page, or I can select all 206 that meet this criteria. So now that I've got 206 selected, I could actually just start mailers. Boom. Now I'm going to start mailers to all these properties. So that's how you can use that. What was the second thing?
Preset.
Filter. Oh, presets, right, presets. So let's say, let's see. All right, so I'm going to change it, lead status, pending approval, added within the last 48 hours. I'll say 24 hours. And let me just save this as a preset called morning property approvals. So I could basically come back to this filter every morning and I would see the leads that my drivers added in the most recent day. And then I could go through and say, okay, yep, good picture. Oh, not that one. That's too nice of a house. Yep, this one's a really terrible house. Yep, this one's good. This one's good. And then you could approve your properties like this every morning. And then you could just, approve those. And you could use your presets like that. You can make a preset for anything.
And these presets you can set for even your map for your DealFinders as well. So I have one that's literally just entitled DealFinder map. And then I set that as my default for my DealFinder so that they actually see the highlighted properties. And I just, we actually have that on there as well for you guys. And then, okay, that was pretty, and also for all you OG deal machiners, you can manually add a property now in the leads view, which it used to just be on the map view. So just so you know, you can now do that here as well since we are a CRM. Okay, driving.
All right, so yeah, this is the core of DealMachine is you can drive, you can track your routes, you can track your driver's routes, and you can even get a graph about your driving. So right now we're looking at miles driven, but there's another map called time driven as well that we can track. And then you can take a look at your drivers. So on this account, I got 2 drivers. You can invite them by email, or you could build a funnel. This is part of the enterprise plan. But the funnel is really powerful because it lets you continually recruit a stream of drivers, and it does the heavy lifting of like training them. So first of all, it gives you this landing page just for your business right here. You can customize it. We've filled it out for you, but you can always make it your own. And then once they sign up there, you can actually give them some training videos. So here are those training videos. We filmed them for you. You can turn them on or off, and you can select, oh, okay, I want them to understand they're going to get paid per property instead of hourly, for example. Or you can even film your own if you're like Kristina and you've got a different payment method. So this is some of the basics of how you can recruit drivers with the enterprise plan. You can have up to 300 drivers.
Vicus, you asked a question prior to this about like your mail's not going. I would check to see what your default mail setting is of how often your repeat mail's going out to see if you have completed those, and you can actually filter to see what deals have completed marketing. And then also I wanted to tell you that instead of tagging for pre-foreclosures, I would put them in a list. So if David, we could go back to the leads tab. I do this for my virtual driving for dollars. At the end of virtually driving for dollars, I'll select all of them and then put them in a list that's just my virtual driving for dollars list. So for your pre-foreclosures, if you upload the list, I would just, one, it's already going to go into a list because you bulk uploaded, but you can rename it as pre-foreclosures or move that upload into a pre-foreclosure list.
Yeah, so here's, let's see here. I made a list. I don't know if I have lists on my columns. Let me edit my columns. Lists.
There we go.
Add that. Okay, now I have lists. And yeah, I can see that this is with a little pop-up here on the virtual driving for dollars list.
Elizabeth, what is the price per record for skip tracing for basic subscribers? Basic, it's going to be basic and professional, it's 17 cents per skip trace. And then if it's corporate owned, it's going to be 34 cents per skip trace. Can I use the virtual driving for dollars on basic plan? If I understand correctly, I think it's now just professional and enterprise, correct?
What was the question?
For virtual driving for dollars, that's just on professional and enterprise now?
It is marketed that way, but it does still, since we're in COVID, it does still work for the basic plan. We said we would provide that to all the plans for people who are locked down, didn't want to get out.
So Terry, yes, you can virtually drive for dollars, and we've got a lot of great videos on that in the YouTube channel. What's the advantage of creating a virtual driving for dollars list? Richard, honestly, for me, it's just, it's good for tracking, especially if people call me back. Like I've been doing it now because people have been asking, well, are virtual driving for dollars leads just as good as regular, like driving for dollars leads? So I personally have been putting them in a list so that way I can kind of track to make sure I know which ones were virtual driving for dollars and like what calls I get off of them. Also, you kind of just know then, especially if people have VAs or they have that are virtually driving for dollars, or they have DealFinders out there, you kind of know which one's which and who's added what.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a comp tool? No.
Honestly, if you can get out in your car and drive the actual streets, I feel like I learn more, right?
Oh yeah, no, definitely
Way more.
drive. If you have the time, drive.
Right. The virtual tool's there for somebody who already wanted that to be part of their strategy. But yeah, just if you're wondering if you should do in-person versus virtual, if you can get out there and drive, I always learn a lot more.
I will say though, guys, like hold your virtual driving for dollars makes it so you literally cannot make excuses of why you didn't add deals in that day. If you go to sit in bed at 9 o'clock at night, I'm sorry, I'm an early bird, and you're like, I only added 5 today. Oh crap, I didn't get my 10. Oh well, I'll just do it tomorrow. Pull out your computer and put 5 freaking leads in. It'll take 10 minutes. And at least you put a lead in and it's something instead of you making excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to be super blunt, but it's there. So use it. Because I want you all to succeed. I see there is a sale price on the right. What price is that?
That's exactly what it sounds like. If we had if we have the actual amount that the property sold for, that's what we're showing, the last sale price.
How do I find the parcel number for land? I know we used to have it. Are we getting that back?
Oh, we used to have that?
We used to have parcel ID number on highlights at least.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't think we have it anymore.
Let's check it out.
Yes, Danny's right. Google Maps does have outdated pictures. A bit of time, it is a little bit, it is more of a gamble than if you were to actually drive. Yeah, it used to be. There was
Okay, we'll take a note.
Got it. are we going to have comp tool? Is there a comp tool?
No, there's not a comp tool right now. It would be great to recommend that, actually, to request it officially in the feature upvote.
There is actually
Great.
one. So go ahead and there is a feature.
Vote for it for sure.
Go vote for it. So David, can you hit your more tab? The request tab we were telling you guys about, it's right here where you go to more on the side of your thing and it says request feature. Go through, I'll tell you right now, if you could do me a favor and just go through to see if it's already requested and vote for it. Because it's probably already there. We have a ton and I love it because look at these and we keep them updated.
Oh yeah.
What's planned and what's not. I go through them. Do we have a business card for DealMachine?
What do you mean a business card?
Yes. You're welcome, Edward. Not a problem. So do you get out and check out every house you see while driving for dollars? Or do you just get the address and keep on going to the next home? Depending on how much time I have. If you watch my live the other day, I literally just drove and did tap to add because it's just super fast for me. I wanted to get as many properties as I could because my time, I don't have the time to do a lot of it. How to use DealMachine for land. Well, now I know we were having issues before, but now we have this data that land should not be an issue. I added some land the other day when I was driving for dollars, so that should not be an issue. Can you filter for multifamily properties? No, yes, no. I don't think you can. Right, David?
Let's see. The question was,
can you filter for multifamily properties? I'm pretty sure you can't.
Oh, not at the moment, no. We can do that though. I'm adding it to my request for the developers. Great idea.
Vicus says, is there a chart that shows how many postcards I have been sending weekly? You can actually look that up in your analytics in the dashboard if you go down, and we will be adding a calendar feature that is
sent
on our to-do list to show you like when mail will be going out, when it's expected to be delivered, like it is happening. John Bell makes a great point. Comp tool, not needed. Distressed properties are usually priced much lower than the market pricing. Edward says, what are the badges for? To make you feel amazing. I asked David if we could make them because I thought that those would be great little goal settings. We all need goals to hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love it when the confetti shoots out.
Scott, we'll add a multifamily filter for you.
Michael, do you only do virtual with recent Google Street View? How old of Google Pick before you don't use it? Some of the Google Picks for neighborhoods are on there. So I use all of them. When I'm virtually driving for dollars, I'll add it. And actually I'll do like a little investigative work. If the picture is like 2011, okay, and it looks like craps, I will add it just to see when the sale date was. And if it was sold in 1996, I'm gonna bet the house still probably doesn't look very good. So I'm going to use it because it's probably looks worse than what the picture actually was. Is it best here? That's a good one for you, David. Is it best to ask the seller? Oh, it's best to ask the seller, what's the lowest price you will take instead of like comps. Nice job, John.
Is that a question for me?
No, that was advice from John. I appreciated that. But in all fairness, using virtual driving is a great way to retrace your driver's routes. So I still feel like it's useful. I love virtual driving for dollars only because I started using it a lot when we hit COVID.
Mm-hmm.
This is one actually, David, I have on my list. There's no way to close the pop-up banners in the app. You have to click them, then click come back. Can we add an X?
What do you mean a pop-up banner?
So I think even if he means the pop-ups in the intercom, there is an X on that, but I think he means when you're in the leads and you add a property. I noticed this when I was driving the other day. it'll just stay there and
Okay.
it won't leave, and you can't get rid of it unless you tap out, which then it takes you off of your, it takes you off of,
This thing right here?
no, go to maps. So when you're literally driving and you tap a property, the little thing that comes up at the bottom to show, so it's on the bottom in the mobile app, and it'll just stick there. Yeah. And there's no exiting out of it. And so then you have to like tap out, and then it loses your tracking location. It's on a list. I have it on a list.
Okay.
Oh, Gail, we all have our physical business cards, like David, me, Ty. Is version available to me while I'm still in my trial period? You betcha, Jim. You got it. You can use it on your trial period. You download it at DealMachine.com/Chrome, and you can download the extension really, really easy. And then you just put in your login information for DealMachine. What's the best phone for DealMachine? Galen, we do not have phone support. We have chat support, which David can show you right now, where you can reach out to help and support.
And we also have lives like this one.
Or you can come on the lives. Like on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Actually, Friday, we're organizing our lead list. We're going to put all sorts of systems in place.
This is how you ask for help. So send us a message, and then you could send a GIF.
Yes, please send GIFs. On pre-foreclosures of modular homes, how do you make an offer? That's all you, David.
On modular homes?
It says on pre-foreclosure of modular homes, how do you make offer?
So is modular important because the land is not owned by the same person as the home? I don't know. I don't think I have enough experience to answer the question.
Oh my gosh, David, did you read this? Who in the world came up with DealMachine? They are literally God in human form. Guys, stop. His birthday is tomorrow, but we don't need to like blow his head up. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you.
David's story's so awesome. And I tell him to tell it all the time. He's just really humble. And like, he's like, no one wants to. Yes, they do. They love David. We love David.
Thanks. I love you too.
David came with the, Hannah answered that one. And you know why, David, can you just give like a quick little synopsis why you came up with the app?
Wait,
Like,
are you seeing that Hannah answered things? I'm not seeing that.
Now I am. Are you not?
No, I feel like she's writing only to you and she doesn't know that.
No, it says all panelists and attendees.
Huh, I'm not getting that. That was the second time it happened tonight. I'm not sure why. But anyway.
Tell him what happened that you were like, crap, David dropped the ball and this is why DealMachine was made.
Yeah, so back in 2016, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, got inspired, learned about driving for dollars, and then I spent about a month spending like 30 to 60 minutes after work every day driving around looking for rundown properties. I had this list of properties, and I didn't really do anything with it yet because it wasn't big enough. You had to have 200 you had to have 200 properties to send out mail. And so I was like, all right, I got to build this thing up to 200. And I was only at like 40, but it had been a month, right? So I kind of drove by this property on accident twice, and I saw that it was being renovated. So I was like, I think I have that on my list already. And I was like, oh, somebody bought it in the meantime while I didn't even, follow up with any of these properties. And so that's when I knew I was like, something's got to change. I can't just keep, spending 2 months to build my list before I send mail out, because meanwhile, other investors are getting those properties first. And so being a software developer, that next weekend, I made a very basic version of an app that would have a map. I could pin a property, and then it would link to the county's records, like pull in the owner info, and then send out a mailer with another company, right? So I didn't have to do that, but that it was done one-off. I didn't have to wait for 200, and then it happened immediately, so I didn't lose out on those deals. So that's the story of DealMachine. I think I put it on the App Store. It was originally just for me and just to solve my own problem. And then I put it on the App Store in early 2017. And I invited my best friend, Dave, and together we formed the business, right? He took over the development. He's a better developer than me. And then we formed the business together and it grew from there. So that's the story of the beginning of DealMachine.
I love it. It's going to end up being like a documentary or something at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Tone, yes. I've had it to where land, in, at least inner city, has come up as an address that I can look up. David, you are dope, says Misha.
Thanks, Misha.
David.
Well, so what was the question?
I don't know. What was the question?
I thought there was a question.
It was just saying that you were in God form.
Oh.
The question I just answered, it was if address is for land. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get through all this. Can you talk about the get free deals? Lee asked about that, what that means.
Oh yeah. So basically it gives you like your own promo code. And every time you share it out, you get $5 of credit. Every time that somebody would start an account with that promo code, you guys would both get $5 of credit. So it's a way of saying thank you for sharing DealMachine.
Richard said, is there any way to get owner info when I get owner not found when adding a deal?
Why don't I see Richard's question? Is there a way to get the owner info when I get owner not found when adding a deal? Gotcha. Okay, well, if it says owner not found, that means we've checked your county records and we didn't find it. And then we checked 2 other data providers and we didn't find it. So I don't know, something might be wrong there. Maybe like Google Maps has the address slightly wrong. So maybe like pop open your actual county website, and those are rare instances, and just check it out there. But more than likely, they probably don't have the info either. And that's why we couldn't find the owner.
Yeah, sometimes it's the county is slower on that. I know what time. Okay. Okay, really quickly, I would like to show people the mailers and how much you can customize them.
Sure. Well, we saw the mailer before. I
Right.
showed you guys the preview. I'll do that again. Here's another mailer.
Put your picture on it.
Okay, so now you guys have seen that. There's like different styles. If I change it to like classic, the preview is going to look different now.
Ooh, show them the blocks. I always talk about the blocks template.
Okay.
You said blocks. Blocks is my favorite because it just looks really modern, and the picture of you and the property looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that.
It's great. Blocks is great.
Fantastic.
Okay, so you can customize what it says, and you've got a little character count, and then you could even insert their name. So it says like owner first name. Is this your property? Oh, I guess we want to capitalize that. So then it would insert the owner's first name there. So you can customize every single section of the postcard with stuff like that.
Reggie, I would say both. So I would say try to make it look very, not like too casual, but very kind of candid, but professional. Like, so you see how David's like in his, leather jacket, but he doesn't look, I mean, it's a nice looking picture. It's not like he just took a selfie. Granted, the one on my postcard is a selfie, but I'd like to say it looks better than just a regular selfie. But on our enterprise plan, what I would say, you can have multiple signatures. And what I suggest to people is hit both the conservative sellers and maybe the more like non-conservative sellers, where you can do a logo in one signature and your picture in the other, and just switch those between templates, because you also can do drip campaigns by switching out different templates. put your dog in the picture. I'll tell you right now, I told an enterprise member to change it to a picture of his family, and he got a call within the month off of his postcard, and the lady said it was because of his family picture.
Oh,
Because I mean, I think of it as a female too. I would want somebody who looks friendly, and I mean, it's, and like Kristina said, it's such an emotional thing. There's a pain point. So like, to look at a friendly face to go with the name, that's going to do a lot for you.
totally.
Karen, you sent a postcard to yourself and it looked good. Yay, I did.
Okay, so couple of answers for you guys. TJ, can we change the name on our postcards? So yeah, you do that under signatures. So go to signatures, edit your signature, and then you can change your name right here. So that won't change your account, your DealMachine account name, just what shows up on your mail. And then tone, could I make DealMachine to be more compatible with iPad? So don't use the native mobile app on your iPad. You're going to be very much happier by pulling it up on your Safari browser. So it's got all the same functionality. It looks amazing on iPad with the Safari browser. And that would be my recommendation. Thomas, appreciate the love. He says this app is freaking gold. Saves so much time. Thank you.
God's in gold here.
And then a drip campaign. A drip campaign just means you're like either repeating some messaging or you're sequentially messaging over a period of time. So if I hit the mailer button and I went to campaigns, oops, I could create a new campaign and I could say, first of all, let's send the COVID template and let's send it 3 times, 21 days. And then I'll add another step and I'll send the a Spanish postcard for a final step. Now that would be a drip campaign because they're going to drip out postcards based on like a certain schedule.
And even if you don't have the campaigns feature just yet, in your settings, there's the default mail where you can set it up to repeat, and that will be the default for all of your leads going forward. And who was it? Elizabeth. So Elizabeth said that her postcards have streaks on all of them. It's either happening in printing or when the post office runs it through the postage machines. It's usually from the postage machines. Sorry, tongue-tied.
Yeah, so that's like a problem with just postcards USPS wide, is they have really high speed sorting machines that sometimes when they come into contact with the postcard, which is like finished on both sides, causes a streak. So it's a really well documented issue, and some of those machines are worse than others. And there's unfortunately not a ton that can be done about that. The ballpoint letters wouldn't have that issue because they're not a postcard and you wouldn't get streaked on the envelope. So that is an option. But yeah, I definitely feel when those streaks come through. I mean, that's definitely not ideal.
What's the best frequency for sending mail campaigns?
Well, we put in default 21 days, and I would just do that. Unless you're doing deals on deals on deals, every week. There's really no need to get super sophisticated with testing something like that.
I like TJ's comment. Did you read it?
Oh no, what did TJ say?
Dave, my cousin said she likes your pick and wants to know if she can use it on her postcards.
Oh, that's really a high compliment. Thank you.
I love that.
I would recommend that she would use her own picture, but if you really do want to use mine, I don't know, maybe test it out. But I would definitely say like it's super personal, and grab your own with an iPhone.
Eric said the 14-day trial, do you have full access to everything the software offers?
Yeah, you do. You just have to do a trial of the enterprise plan to get access to everything that the software offers, but that does have a trial, I believe. Does the enterprise have a trial?
No.
I think it does. I think you can start an enterprise trial now.
Okay.
You want to watch me?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to sign out.
Ooh, Hannah did make a good point. The streaks are usually worse when you get return mail because they have to run it through the sorter twice or more.
Oh, that is true.
Good
All right,
point.
we're signing up for DealMachine.
All right.
Time for like a 100th demo account.
So you made it 1,000. Nice.
This email address has already been used. I told you guys I have hundreds of these accounts. Okay.
Thousands, apparently.
Are you kidding me? What's going on here? I wonder if it's ignoring.
The numbers.
No, literally had demo accounts with all those numbers.
Nice. Is there a promo running at this time? Eric, we don't.
I mean, you get like 20, you get free money when you start an account, right? I have $5 here. And you get the CRM for free. That's a really good deal. All right, let's see here. I'm checking out my verification code because I'm going to start an enterprise trial.
I'm very interested in this.
NBKDT. Oop. NBKDT. Okay, next is my phone. Verify my phone.
Hey, look, fill in code. Nice.
All right, so go to the driving engine and try for free. You see that? Try for free.
I do.
Okay.
The trial.
Yeah, it's a trial.
No, but how long is it?
Same length as all the trials.
Wow.
Okay. Then I
Uh,
feel like I shouldn't enter my credit card here on this screen.
Probably not.
Starts with 37. But yeah, just so that's clear, yeah, you can try out the enterprise for 14 days.
Vicus says, kudos to your customer support team. They're always very helpful and prompt.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. I definitely appreciate that. And I love them.
Our support team is the bomb. All right. Well,
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate everybody asking great questions tonight.
yes. Thanks, guys. And tomorrow there is a live at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where we're going over how to organize your list best. And I'll be going through my very own to show you what I'm going to do. And I highly recommend you having a tab open and have your own account up.
Yes.
So,
Also, Hannah, are you able to show your video for a second?
yes.
I just realized that it might be nice to see your face. Wow. It's dark there. You're muted, but I just wanted everybody to see what you're doing back there. And we'd love to see your face more, even if you're muted on the webinars. It goes for both of you. And thanks for making it possible. And good night, everyone.
Night. Thank you.